So I got a call from a client who wanted to fly across these boxes in a very large warehouse. So what you're looking at here, obviously, is the FlyLine Cable Cam. It's a 509-foot run for this job. The client, obviously, as you can see, wanted to fly across these boxes. The boxes themselves were, I think, 20 foot tall, 50 foot long, and the warehouse, as you can see, is huge. So this is the first run we did. We put up the line, took most of the sag out of it, checked our clearances. We obviously had these overhead signs that we had to clear. We did eliminate one of them in order to get through it. There is an elevation change. We started out at a 26-foot height and jumped up to a 37-foot height. This is the return trip. Once we check the clearances, it's a little faster now. We did the elevation change because the client wanted to go in a straight line across the boxes. So the only way that we could do that was to, in fact, have that elevation change. They didn't want to see a lift at the end of the run. So once we had our clearances, knew we were good, we went ahead and did a little bit of a faster pass through the boxes. The elevation change actually worked in our favor. They wanted to get a little further away from these things at the end. They wanted to get closer to the boxes as we went, so the elevation change actually worked in our favor. After we did our few test runs looking down the line, we wanted to look sideways to test the stability of the gimbal, the Ronin. So we ended up actually not looking sideways for any of the final takes that we did for this shot. But for our tests, we wanted to make sure that the Ronin was handling the stabilization, looking sideways from the travel of the line. So these tests were done with a Canon 70D. So what you'll hear is a little bit of wind noise from the on-camera microphone. You're also hearing the spooling of the gyro, which is used to stabilize the trolley on the line, and you're hearing the motor itself run. So that's what you're hearing off of camera. Obviously, on the final take, there is no audio. It was not a concern. This was pretty much what the final shot was going to look like. There were some other activities going on in the frame. Different pieces were in different places, but this is pretty much what the final shot would look like. This was the middle of the first day of tests. So we had a little bit of time to mess around. We started putting in a little bit of roll to the Ronin just to see what that looked like. Wasn't anything we did for the final shot. This is kind of us just messing around. You can see there that that's our tie-off point for the start of the run. So after doing multiple test runs and going to lunch, come back, there is more sag in the line. It becomes obvious because the camera gets closer to your object. So you do a slow pass again, and what you want to do is add more tension to the line. So the way we do that is that we have a ratcheting come along in line. So you can see that I'm doing that now. I'm actually on the lift in the background there. I'm ratcheting more tension into the line. Between the ratchet, the come along, and the tie-off point, there is a dynamometer in line. The dynamometer reads tension on the line. So in this elevation change, with the amount of sag that we had over a 500-foot run, we had about 500 pounds of tension on the line. That line can handle 1,500 pounds of tension on it. That would have given us, at a horizontal line, about a 2.5-foot sag. We didn't need it. We didn't have to even approach 1,500 pounds. The 500 pounds of tension worked perfectly for this application. Now, there are some applications where you want more horizontal travel in the line. So that 1,500 pounds would come into play. I had a client who wanted to skim as close to the ground as possible. So depending on the length of your run, the tension in the line approaches that 1,500 pounds to get a truly horizontal run. So in this application, it was great. The sag worked perfect. I'm actually ratcheting the come along a couple more times just to make sure that we're good on this height. Then we travel back up our line and do another test run. So over the course of 2 days, we had to ratchet the line a couple of times in order to keep the amount of sag and tension in the line that was required for the shot. This is day 2, the actual shoot day. The camera package is now flying on the Ronin on the FlyLine trolley. The camera package was the Alexa Mini with its wireless focus and iris unit. Wireless video, obviously, to get the signal back to us for the operators. And there's your 509-foot run with the cable cam flying over very large boxes in a very large warehouse. The client was extremely happy. This was really the only way to get the shot that they had on their storyboards, and it worked out very well. We were all super happy.